there's also this issue of Apple does seem to be spending a lot.
So when I talk to filmmakers, there's really a lot of concern about marketing. So they have all these great distribution options online, but how do you get people to know about your movie, that it exists?
There are a lot of examples, I think, of clever strategies of marketing. I mean, we can start with The Secret. I think that, you know, they've sold over 2 million DVDs, and between the viral marketing they did with their trailers, you know, starting a little more than a year ago, to, you know, how their website works, to the way they partnered with organizations, because I think marketing is obviously the biggest challenge. You can say, oh, it's great to have a great film, and it's great to have DVDs for sale, and it's great to, you know, whatever, but, you know, there's no guarantee that any of them will get sold. I think that's absolutely correct, and, you know, for filmmakers to think that this is a magical solution is a big mistake. The challenge of figuring out how you do outreach is great, but part of that is also thinking in terms of partnerships. The old model of, you know, distributor to filmmaker was kind of, I don't know, master to slave, supplicant to king, I don't know, queen, whatever. I think the model should be partnership, whether it's with a TV channel, a home video distributor, or a nonprofit organization. And in a partnership, both sides benefit, you know, from this mutual relationship. So we think about, you know, how partnerships can work. So at the lowest level, you could be linking to somebody's website and they could be linking to your website. At the next level up, they write about or review your film, people come to your website and buy it. At the next level up, there's affiliate marketing, they send people your way, they get a couple bucks from the sale. The next level up, there can be house parties, you know, around the movie. So I think the partnership part of it is crucial. And when people do kind of think about audience, they shouldn't think about this anonymous, you know, general audience out there, which is what the studios have focused on for years. They should think in very specific terms, in terms of who's going to want to own their movie on DVD. That's the crucial question for them to think about, and hopefully they have an idea that's sort of in terms of concentric circles of audience. So who's in the center circle? Who are they most convinced is going to want to own it? Even if it's 1,000 people, whatever, then what's the next ring out? People they think are likely to, you know, and then test those assumptions, you know, be in touch with the organizations and the websites and the mailing lists where those audiences hang out and see what happens. And you're going to find some audiences maybe embrace the movie more than you expected, others less. Then put your energy into the ones that are being most responsive. So it's a step-by-step thing. It's not like there's one master plan for world domination. You have to, you know, adjust your strategy as you go. But I think the rewards potentially, not just in terms of, you know, revenues, but, you know, the movie being seen widely, maybe having an impact, and then the opportunities for those people to be with you to support, you know, your future work. The opportunities, you know, are enormous, and they can free a filmmaker from being in a situation where they're totally dependent on others for financing and distribution. I mean, the idea of an independent filmmaker it's kind of a funny concept, because they're all dependent filmmakers if third parties are financing their movies and if third parties are distributing them. So we're trying to figure out how to use these tools to make people as independent and as free as possible to make the films they're most passionate about.
So one thing you mentioned there was affiliate programs, and I actually think it's going to be really important to have the system that lets you say to those 100 blogs that you want to have recommend your film or talk about your film, you know, particularly the blogs in that, you know, first concentric or core of the concentric circles, to be able to have a way to give them $1 for every copy.
Easy to do, and you know, I'd like to see them get between $2 and $5 from each sale, and you can tier it. You know, $2 if they just write about the movie, $3 if they put a banner on their site, $4 if they send out an email blast to their mailing list twice. You know, you can tier it, and then they give the people on their site a code that people take to your site, gets them a little discount, then your shopping cart knows where they came from, and then that'll, you know, give them a credit of $2 or $4 or whatever it is, and eventually they'll get revenue. So they have an incentive to do it. You're appreciating, you know, the support that they're giving you, and if they're a struggling nonprofit, which many of these folks are, you know, it just helps them in terms of, you know, the resources they have.
How do you see things shifting over time to digital downloads? You know, is this something that's going to happen in 2008, where people need to be thinking about most of their revenue coming from downloads?
Well, I don't know. I can't. As you know, it's we can never predict the speed of things. I mean, things are changing pretty fast. I think Apple TV and other things that are going to be getting, images onto televisions are going to, whether that's the one or Juiced or whoever it is, but I think that's going to make a tremendous difference. So I think the prices will be lower if people download things, but obviously the costs are lower, of delivery and of production as well. And I think, there may be a situation where there's a kind of two-tier pricing model. Right now, if you look at what an independent documentary costs versus Mission Impossible 3, the price of Mission Impossible 3 on DVD is lower. But Tom Cruise is not the same as, this film that you really need to own. So I think there'll be different tiers. People will be playing with it. But in the end, if the people who are buying are not sort of anonymous consumers just out there, for entertainment, but actually think that the films that they're buying are going to make a difference in their own lives, and they may be things that they'll give as presents to other people, and they want to really be supportive of the people that are making those movies, I think their willingness to pay a little bit more is going to be greater than what their attitude towards supporting, Paramount or Universal or Warner Brothers. I just want to mention, just go back a second, Scott, if I could. The company, you were asking me about companies, and I just wanted to say a word about Breakthrough Distribution, because Breakthrough Distribution was really set up to help filmmakers do things that I, when I'm consulting with them, advise them to do. So whether it's authoring the DVD, whether it's replicating the DVD, whether it's doing fulfillment of the DVD, whether it's helping people set up a shopping cart, those are things that they can do, and it's all designed in the most filmmaker-friendly, fairest sort of, revenue costs possible. So I really recommend them to a lot of my clients.
Is there anything else that I should have asked you and didn't?
Yeah, I mean, a couple other things. I just want to say a word about versions. It used to be that filmmakers thought about, they made a movie. I'm like, oh, that's such a quaint notion these days, because there's let's just say it's a feature-length documentary. All right, there's the feature-length documentary version. Well, then for overseas television, there's going to have to be an hour version. There just is, because there's 20 times as many slots for things that are an hour or less. Okay, then there's the DVD. Now, in versions of the DVD, I recommend to a lot of my clients, there's an initial version, which is just a film with no extras. That's what's sold exclusively from the filmmaker's website before it's in retail distribution, say for 3 or 4 months. Then there's the retail edition, which has, fabulous extras. You can go back to all the people that bought the preview edition or this initial edition and say, now we have this other edition, so you can make maybe a second sale to a lot of those people. And maybe then down the road, there's the third edition, which is the 2-disc set with all this other material, not all of which you have to originate as a filmmaker, but there could be a short, there could be other things that you could make as part of the package. And then to be creative about extras so that the extras have an identity. They could be a toolkit, they could be a guide to this or that. If you can name your extras, and if they do have critical mass, your chances of selling, DVDs to people are just so much greater. So I think to think about versions is really important. There's maybe an educational version with a teacher's guide. There may be a house party version which is shorter. There may be a version for schools. If you've shot 200 hours of material, you've got a lot of possibilities in terms of versions, some of which may just be digital downloads and some of which maybe have physical copies.
I want to thank you for your time. It was really great talking with you.